right, now we are getting into it for real. This is a classic matchup. Over the past few years, Ember versus Paucia is extremely common, and it's been going back and forth. I would give Paucia the edge, just a slight edge personally, but it's close. This has the potential to be an amazing matchup. Nothing crazy on the first turn. Definitely some of the sets we watch, people are rushing to get the difficulty placed, but I feel like Ember and Paucia are more likely to take their time in setting things up that they know are good for them. Wow, what graceful movement. We're at a stage in the bracket now where there's a lot more tension. Because before, we saw so many amazing sets, so many back and forths, so many nail biters. But a lot of those sets, honestly, almost all of them were in the winner's bracket. Even if somebody lost, they still had a chance at redemption. Right now, these two players, whoever loses is out at 7th. And, you know, it's not all about the money, but need I remind you, payout is only to top 5. There is a lot at stake here. Now, Paucia is the 2 seed of this tournament. And honestly has a pretty strong argument to be the #1 player over the last 2 or so years. Very clean. Let's see if Ember gets this. And she does. Nothing to worry about there. Worried for a second. Ember on her last life, but she clutches it out. Interesting black hole by Ember. I don't think we're adding any massive levels of difficulty yet, but definitely ramping it up. I think in a round or so, hell, maybe this round we could see someone score. Ooh. Paucia has the timing, but just fumbles a little bit on that movement there. Oh, love the arrow. The pull of the black hole. Whoa. I saw a setup like this earlier when I was playing with Kiata. 2 arrows on either side of a black hole. It can lead to some really fascinating patterns. Oh, but Paucia doesn't want it. Still, though, that is a pretty interesting setup. I wouldn't be surprised if Ember tries to nerf it here. Oh, Ember? Yeah, Ember opting to nerf it. I was excited to see it. That was an interesting looking setup to me. Paucia, a little bit of trouble holding on. And wait a minute. Ember nerfing this setup could be her own undoing. If she doesn't make it through here, Paucia gets a free ticket to the end. Well, Ember, not 1 life remains. Paucia is going to take an early lead. Not a bad idea. Ember really struggling with that quick jump spin. Nerfing that and then adding a little bit of difficulty down the line. Not a bad plan. Now, what's the move here? Lots that Paucia could potentially do, but I don't mind that. Yeah, it looked like she was really struggling to come to a decision there. I don't know that that stair placement was too strong. But with how good Paucia was looking right now, it might not matter how strong her building is. Close call. And yeah, both of them making it through. Not too surprising. I think they need to add a bit more difficulty before we see either of them really starting to struggle. At least, you know, given that there was nerfing. Being very intentional with that mortar placement. Wow. That is a cycle. Oh my god, that is a cycle. I see the vision, but will they be able to execute? Both players trying to crawl to get find that safe spot, but the mortar too low. Off. And Paucia so close. If there's ever a time, it is now. I think with this timing, you kind of need to come up on the mortar as it's firing. It looks really awkward, but oh, yeah, I see the vision. Anytime they're going for it, they're crouching underneath the arrow. But I feel like you have to time it around the arrow entirely. If you're taking the time to crouch underneath that, you're not gonna make it in time before the mortars fire on you. This is exactly the type of thing that Ember is really good at historically, though. If I'm Paucia, I'm looking for a way to nerf it, but Ember going to nerf instead. Interesting. What's the plan here? Blocking the arrow, not a bad idea. Opting to place a little bit more precision and mechanical movement instead of timing. I was about to say that that Elsa was very reminiscent of the setup, the very same setup that lost Ember the set against Kreutz. The one that Kreutz was so comfortable with, but Ember struggled quite a bit. And maybe she realized that last moment. I could see her pulling away from it. Wow, this is hard. Wow, wow, wow. This is not easy at all. Going for the inner spin jump after the arrow stall, and then you have to precisely land between the spike balls. That is crazy, but Paucia's so close! The timing on that is mental. Paucia coming so close. In the games that I've played with her, I've always been so impressed with Paucia's ability to do this inner flip jump here. But doing it with time pressure like this is next level. Most high-level players struggle to do it all on its own. I mean, this is some of the highest level stuff I have ever seen, honestly. That being said, still have to land it. Ooh, Ember coming really close. I don't know that super jump's possible, though. Alright, 15 seconds. This could potentially separate Paucia from a close match to a victory. Ooh, close but no cigar. While I do think that that's a good setup for Paucia, I mean, that's brutal. And yeah, Paucia recognizing it. Ember, me and you have talked about this. We know Paucia's not too great at those one block squeezes. Don't be afraid to set it up. Really a rough draw for Ember. Dodging the flower, but falling right into the wrecking ball. Come on, Paucia, this is your bread and butter. Missing. I mean, this is the decisive moment. Like, this is the setup that's going to determine the outcome of this set. I think it's favored towards Paucia, but I've seen Ember do these, and she is phenomenal at that. I can see it going either way. Paucia playing it really safe, but at this point, you have an extra life to give. I don't know if now's the time to be playing it safe. Once that timer comes up, you're going to wish you hadn't. Seconds. Oh, unfortunate. To be honest, I'm a bit surprised. Part of me was expecting when the timer came up. I was kind of expecting that would be the push that got Paucia to go through that setup with the confidence that's required to complete it. I feel like with movements like that, when you play it so safe, you end up shooting yourself in the foot more often than not. If you just have the confidence in the movement and just rip it, it usually works out better than not. This could be a crazy Ferris wheel. Not a bad idea. Bombing just one of the pieces of the Ferris wheel, giving yourself more of a window of opportunity. I don't mind that at all. I see a lot of potential for some creative ideas. Both of them getting through, no issue. Now this is a little bit interesting because I can't tell what timing you really want to go at it. I feel like that last segment of the Ferris wheel is probably the safest. Both of them not getting through, though. Ember makes it. The Ferris wheel carries her away. That was close. And Paucia! That is not the type of flub I was expecting, but that is rough. It's really difficult at a glance to know what the right timing is for something like this. There's so many different moving pieces that, like, wow. So in sync. Oh my goodness, both of them play sheep. Both of them right on cue with each other. Just 3 turns remaining. If Ember wants to come back here, I feel like I'm gonna need to see some more aggressive building. She's been going with the flow for the most part, but I think that's a little bit dangerous. Whoa. That wooden block from Paucia could make some waves. Not opting to go for it. Oh, maybe. Wow. I feel like the 1 block jump on the bottom right there's still, or it's a 2 block. It's a 2 block. Yeah, that's surely gonna be a 2 block solution. Whoa! Paucia not going for the grounded jump there and just falls into the void. Wait a minute, Ember makes it through here. Ember makes it through here, and it looks like you actually can just run on top of that Ferris wheel, so as soon as the timings line up... Ember. Will you succumb to the pressure? Struggling a little bit too. This is the type of matchup that I was expecting to see in, like, winners finals. Not to say that there aren't other great players who I thought could make it that far. It's just like Ember Paucia playing for 7th place. It feels unreal to me. 2 turns left. Not a bad idea by Paucia. Making the timing a little bit more lenient, that has been what is killing her. I don't know if Ember really has as much she can do with that. That's 6 by 1. But she's a black hole now. This placement could be everything. Where will it go? See, I feel like I can see a bunch of long-term ideas, but there's only 2 turns left. It's really difficult to place that black hole in a way that's immediately effective, which is what you need it to be. That being said, this is pretty great. Very similar to the setup, if not exactly identical to the setup that we saw earlier with Murphy versus Morphin. But this mortar just adds a whole new layer to it. That is beautiful. Ember gets through. Paucia, 1 life left? Wow! Ember needed that black hole to be immediately effective, and she found one of the few spots where that's the case. Let's see, can she convert? Ever since, now that Paucia bombed that piece, that segment of the Ferris wheel, there's a lot more leniency to this. Something that Ember before has been struggling with. Unfortunate, she still has one more chance. Let's see it. Oh, and she goes a little bit too early. She's saying GG. I think there's another turn left. Am I crazy? There is, there is. It is the last turn. Paucia up by 1. She just wants to play something difficult. Because at this point, that's all you need. Some might argue that it's not the way that a lot of people want to win, but it is a winning strategy. You're up by 1, there's 1 turn left. If you make it hard enough that you're not clearing it, and there it is. There's not many things that you can do with a non-hazardous block like that that'll make the map so much more difficult, but Paucia found one of the few ways. I will say, Ember had a great opportunity to place that barrel and counter build against Paucia, but she opted not to. I'm a little bit curious as to why, because Paucia's been struggling quite a bit with this black hole. Though maybe Ember sees a future that I cannot, because so far it might have actually been the right decision. That is tricky. I feel like you have to do it from the wall. Ooh, a good try, but that timing is so difficult to line up. Now, wait a second. Paucia with a chance. But it doesn't matter. Paucia does not need to put that nail in the coffin because Ember will do it herself. That's the game. Ember out at 7. Paucia upset early in the tournament, but living to see another day. I still have faith that a Paucia run through to grand finals, through to a victory is entirely possible. Well, it may not be of consequence, but I'm still really interested to see if Paucia can get this. She goes for the spin? But surely, oh my god, I think that she timed that correctly too. One small bit of execution away from clearing that is crazy. Well done to both players, but Paucia is moving forward.